Forget everything you've been told about what you need to do to earn respect. There are things that destroy your worth much faster than you think. In this world of the weak and the strong, no one expects you to play by the rules. If you don't want to become just a shadow among shadows, pay attention to what I'm about to say. This video is based on Nietzsche's philosophy and will be interesting and useful to those who seek truth or are ready to challenge their own beliefs. Well then, let's begin. The death of your own voice. There is a kind of quiet death that does not announce itself. No trumpet calls, no mourners dressed in black. It happens slowly, invisibly, beneath the surface of your daily life. It begins with a single compromise, a moment when you nod in agreement to something you do not believe, just to avoid conflict. It continues when you laugh at a joke that does not amuse you, when you silence your thoughts because the room is filled with louder voices, when you suppress your instincts because speaking them aloud might invite judgment. And so, piece by piece, you are buried beneath the expectations of others, until there is nothing left of you but a shadow. Do not mistake this for kindness. Do not delude yourself into thinking this is wisdom. It is neither. It is fear dressed as virtue, cowardice parading as harmony. The man who agrees with everyone is respected by no one. The person who refuses to take a stance is never admired, only tolerated. And tolerance is the bare minimum of human existence, the polite indifference of a world that has already forgotten you. You may believe that by yielding, you will be embraced, that by being agreeable, you will be loved. But what is loved? A version of you that is not real. A puppet, a mirror reflecting only what others want to see. The moment you stop resisting, stop thinking, stop challenging, you cease to be an individual. You become a tool, an instrument to be played by stronger hands. And instruments, once worn out, are discarded without a second thought. Do not mistake submission for peace. A mind that bends for every breeze will be trampled when the storm comes. Those who fear judgment never escape it. They merely invite more of it. Those who constantly seek approval become prisoners of the very people they wish to impress. And worst of all, the more you silence yourself, the more the world teaches you that your voice was never needed in the first place. There is no dignity in being a person who never offends, never contradicts, never asserts. The respect of others is nothing compared to the respect you should have for yourself. If you surrender your truth for the comfort of belonging, you will wake up one day to find that you do not even belong to yourself anymore. And what remains of a person who does not belong to themselves? Nothing. Nothing but an echo of what could have been. The weight of unnecessary apologies. There is a certain type of weakness that does not scream, does not beg, does not even cry for help. It merely explains itself. Anxiously, unnecessarily, as if existence itself required justification. Watch closely. The one who rushes to defend himself before he has even been attacked. The one who apologizes for things no one noticed. The one who fills the silence with excuses as if silence itself were a threat. He is already defeated. A man who feels the need to justify himself without being accused is a man who has already placed himself on trial. He stands before an invisible judge, pleading innocence for a crime no one has named. But do you not see? The moment you explain, you confess. The moment you defend, you acknowledge guilt. Your words, desperate and eager, paint you as the accused. No one respects the man who begs to be understood. No one admires the man who tries too hard to prove his virtue. Strength is not in explanation. Strength is in stillness, in the ability to let falsehoods fall to the ground like dead leaves, rather than scrambling to catch them. In the quiet certainty that truth needs no defense. When you justify yourself unnecessarily, you tell the world that its opinion of you matters more than your own. And those who are desperate to be seen as good are always the first to be discarded. Do not waste words where silence is more powerful. Do not fight battles where victory earns you nothing. Those who respect themselves do not explain, they simply are. Those who have power do not plead, they command. And those who truly understand the nature of strength know that the greatest response to meaningless accusations is not an argument. It is indifference, the currency of empty promises. Words are not free. Every promise you make is a debt, and the world is merciless in collecting what it is owed. Speak lightly, and your words will carry no weight. Speak recklessly, and you will find yourself buried beneath the ruins of expectations you built but could never sustain. A man who promises more than he can deliver is a gambler who bets his own reputation against the illusion of grandeur. And the house always wins. No one respects the builder who lays the foundation of a palace but lacks the stone to complete it. No one follows the leader whose vision is vast but whose hands remain empty. There is nothing noble in declaring what you cannot create, nothing admirable in boasting of a future that will never arrive. Those who overpromise are not seen as ambitious, only as fools. And the world does not forgive fools. It strips them of their credibility, leaving them to wither in the desert of their own broken words. Greatness is not declared, it is demonstrated. Power does not announce itself, it is revealed through action. The wise man does not boast of what he will achieve, he lets his achievements speak for themselves. Those who truly understand strength do not seek admiration through words, for they know that words, when detached from reality, are as weightless as dust. Do less talking. Make fewer promises. Let your silence be filled with the sound of work, of movement, of undeniable proof. Let your actions be your only declaration, for they cannot be undone by time, nor eroded by doubt. And when you do speak, let your words be iron, forged in the heat of certainty, unbreakable, unquestionable. The world has heard enough promises. It is waiting for something real. The architects of empty air. There are those who build with stone, and there are those who build with words. One erects monuments that endure centuries. The other constructs castles that crumble at the first touch of reality. Beware of becoming the second. Beware of mistaking speech for action, of believing that to declare something is the same as to make it real. A man who talks much and does little is an architect of empty air, a builder of illusions. And illusions have no shelter when the storm arrives. There is a kind of intoxication in words. To speak of great things feels, for a fleeting moment, like achieving them. To paint visions of the future with your tongue is easier than to carve them into existence with your hands. And so the weak learn to talk, endlessly, passionately, poetically. They weave dreams out of language and bask in the admiration of those foolish enough to mistake sound for substance. But admiration is not achievement. And when the time comes to deliver, to show proof, to make reality bend to their will, they are left with nothing but echoes of their own promises. The world does not remember the voices that merely spoke. It remembers the hands that built, the minds that executed, the souls that turned dreams into form. To talk is easy, to act is costly. And only those willing to pay that cost will ever be more than forgotten words in the wind. You will meet many who fill the air with their grand intentions, who speak as if they have already conquered, who mistake their own noise for power. But when silence falls, when the moment arrives to prove, to do, to bring forth something tangible, they will vanish like smoke. Do not be one of them. Let your work be your declaration. Let your actions precede your words, so that when you do speak, every syllable is backed by undeniable reality. A man who speaks little but does much is feared, respected, and remembered. A man who speaks much but does little is a court jester, entertaining perhaps, but ultimately irrelevant. The choice is yours. The hollow laughter of the weak. There is a sound more pathetic than weeping, more disgraceful than silence. It is the forced laughter of a man too afraid to stand alone, the brittle chuckle of one who offers his dignity as tribute to those he fears. It is the sound of surrender, disguised as amusement. False laughter is the mark of a soul that has been bent, a creature that has learned to bow not with its back but with its voice. You have seen them, the ones who laugh before they even understand the joke, the ones who smile when their stomach twists in disgust, the ones who echo the amusement of others as if their own judgment has been stripped from them. They do not laugh because something is funny. They laugh because they hope, desperately, that this sound will make them belong. But what is belonging if it is bought with dishonor? What is the value of a place in the herd if it costs you your spine? A man who laughs when he does not wish to laugh is a man who kneels when no one has ordered him to the ground. He has made himself small before the world has even tried to crush him. And the world does not respect those who make themselves small. Real laughter is a beast that cannot be tamed. It erupts, raw and untamed, when something truly touches the soul. It cannot be forced, and it cannot be faked. But the laughter of the weak is a performance, a nervous twitch, a rehearsed submission, a desperate plea for acceptance. And in that moment, they do not realize that they are not gaining respect. They are losing it. Those who force their laughter betray themselves. They announce to the world that they are willing to bend, to betray their own instincts, to make a fool of themselves for the approval of others. But approval is not respect. The court jester amuses the king, but he is never mistaken for a ruler. The sycophant may earn a smile, but he will never command reverence. A free man does not laugh unless he chooses to. A strong man does not force joy where there is none. If you are to laugh, let it be real. Let it be earned. Let it be the laughter of a man who is unmoved by the weight of the world, not the laughter of a servant offering himself up as entertainment. And if you find yourself in a room where false laughter is expected of you, know this: you are in the wrong room. The weakness of unasked forgiveness. There is a kind of forgiveness that is not noble, not wise, not virtuous. It is the forgiveness of the broken, the defeated, the ones who have convinced themselves that mercy is their only power because they no longer have the strength to demand justice. It is the forgiveness that is offered like a gift, but in truth, it is a sacrifice, a quiet offering of one's own dignity at the altar of another's indifference. To forgive the unrepentant is to invite them to wound you again. It is to tell them, with the softness of your silence, that their sins have no consequence, that they may take from you, strike you, betray you, and still be welcomed without so much as an apology. What lesson does this teach? Not strength, but submission. Not wisdom, but servitude. The one who wronged you learns not to respect you, but to use you. They learn that in your world, cruelty is met with kindness, and betrayal is met with open arms. And so they do it again. But why? Why this need to absolve the undeserving? Is it the lie that you tell yourself, that you do it for peace, for closure, for freedom? No, it is fear. Fear of anger. Fear of confrontation. Fear of holding someone accountable, because accountability demands power, and power demands the willingness to stand, to say no, to refuse to be a victim again. True forgiveness is earned. It is not a right. It is not a privilege given freely to those who have not even asked for it. It is something that must be sought, something that must be proven worthy. A man who does not regret his sins does not deserve absolution. A man who does not bow his head in remorse should not be met with outstretched hands. You do not owe forgiveness to those who have not repented. You do not owe them your peace, your understanding, your acceptance. To hold them accountable is not cruelty. It is the foundation of self-respect. To demand an apology is not weakness. It is the mark of a man who refuses to be used. Let the world call you cold. Let the world call you harsh. Better to be seen as unyielding than to be seen as weak. For those who forgive too easily, too quickly, without demand, without price, will soon find themselves not as saints, but as prey. The futility of complaints. There are two kinds of people in this world: those who carve their fate into the stone of reality, and those who sit in the dust, lamenting that the stone is too hard. One builds, the other weeps. One commands, the other begs. One shapes the world to his will, the other complains that the world is unfair. But tell me, who is respected? Who is remembered? To complain is to declare oneself powerless. It is the anthem of the defeated, the ritual of those who would rather list their burdens than lift them. The man who complains believes he is asking for sympathy, but he is only announcing his own irrelevance. The world does not stop to comfort the weak. It steps over them, unmoved, and continues forward. Have you ever seen a lion complain that the hunt is too difficult? Have you ever seen a storm apologize for being ruthless? Nature does not whimper. It roars, it devours, it adapts. And yet man, with all his intellect, with all his ambition, wastes his breath on grievances. He believes that if he protests loudly enough, the universe will adjust itself to his liking. But the universe is deaf. The universe does not care. And those who spend their lives in complaint are left with nothing but the echo of their own dissatisfaction. Do you think the world respects those who cry out about their misfortunes? No. The world tolerates them, as one tolerates the buzzing of an insect, an annoyance, a sound to be ignored. But those who rise, those who act, those who do not waste their voices on useless sorrow, those are the ones who shape history. The warrior does not complain that the battle is unfair, he sharpens his blade. The thinker does not lament the ignorance of the masses, he builds ideas that will outlive him. The conqueror does not curse the mountains in his path, he finds a way through them. You have two choices, to be pitied or to be respected, to cry out for justice or to take what is yours. The world does not care about your suffering, it only recognizes your strength. So, stand up. Be silent in your complaints and loud in your actions. If there is a problem, solve it. If there is an obstacle, break it. If there is a burden, carry it with pride. For no one honors the man who weeps, but all bow before the man who endures. The mask of over-politeness. There is a delicate art in politeness, a balance between respect and submission. But when the scales tip too far, when the gestures of courtesy become suffocating, what was once admirable turns into a cage. Too much politeness, too much deference, is not a sign of grace, it is the mask of fear. Do you see it? The man who smiles too wide, who speaks too softly, whose every word is calculated, whose every action is designed not to offend, but to appease. This man is not free. He is a prisoner, bound by invisible chains, his every move governed by a constant, gnawing anxiety. His politeness is not a gift, but a shield he hides behind because he fears rejection, because he fears confrontation, because he fears what would happen if he simply allowed himself to be. You see, there is a power in confrontation. There is strength in standing firm, in speaking plainly, in asserting your will without apology. But the man who is overly polite has surrendered this power. He has allowed himself to become an object of others' wills, too concerned with the approval of others to realize that approval is not the same as respect. Respect is not won by shrinking, by bending, by contorting yourself into something you are not. Respect is earned by being bold, by being real, by showing the world who you are and allowing it to react accordingly. When you are too polite, you erase yourself. Your identity becomes a reflection of what others want to see, and your voice is drowned in the noise of everyone else's expectations. The more you try to please, the less you become yourself. You are not a person to be respected. You are a shadow, a projection, a mask. And the world does not respect shadows. You are not here to be liked. You are here to live, to shape your existence with your own hands, to make the world conform to your will, not the other way around. Those who respect themselves do not hide behind pleasantries. They speak with clarity, they act with confidence, and they are willing to face the discomfort of truth, even if it means losing favor. So, let go of the mask. Let go of the false smile. Stand tall. Your strength does not lie in how kindly you speak, but in how boldly you exist. Lions do not justify themselves to jackals. There is a fundamental error that many make, a delusion that fuels their every action, the belief that they must explain themselves, justify their worth, to those who will never understand. The lion does not explain itself to the jackal. The lion does not waste its time in defending its territory to a scavenger, for the jackal is blind to its strength, deaf to its roar, and ignorant of its majesty. The jackal only sees what it envies. You will encounter them. The ones who mock, who gossip, who point fingers at your progress while they remain stagnant in their own pit of envy. They will say you are not worthy, that your victories are nothing, that you are a fraud. And they will demand an explanation, as if your rise to greatness owes itself to them. But the moment you lower yourself to explain, to engage in their petty squabbles, you diminish yourself. You have descended from your mountain and have begun to scavenge in the same muck they inhabit. Why? Why would you deign to argue with the blind? The lion does not plead its case to the antelope. It does not waste its energy on things beneath it. It knows its strength, its purpose, its right to exist, and it roars because it can, not because it needs permission. The jackal will always envy the lion, and the jackal will always find reasons to tear the lion down. It is their nature. It is not yours. You do not owe them your energy, your explanations, your validation. The only ones who are worthy of your time are those who look up to you, those who are willing to listen, to learn, to evolve. Those who can see the lion for what it is, not for what they wish it to be. Stop explaining yourself to the envious, the weak, the small. They will never understand. They will never respect you, for their very hearts are poisoned with jealousy. And in your need to gain their approval, You only make them feel justified in their disdain. The lion's roar cannot be diminished by the insults of the jackal. It is not even aware of them. You are the lion. You do not justify your greatness to anyone. You do not seek validation from the insignificant. Your strength speaks for itself. Let the world tremble at your presence, and let the jackals continue barking in the shadows. They are not your audience. They are not your concern. Living in the past. There are those who live in the shadows of their former glory, who parade their past accomplishments like trophies, as if the weight of what they once were could sustain them forever. But the world does not honor ghosts. It does not bow before memories. The admiration you receive today, the respect you earn, is not for what you have done, but for what you are doing now. The past is a weight that drags you down, a river whose current you can never swim against. You cannot change it, and you cannot live in it. You cannot build your future on the foundations of what was. If you place your worth in the hands of yesterday, you surrender your power to the fleeting whims of time. The glory of yesterday fades, as all things must. You cannot live off the scraps of former victories and expect to be respected. What does the world care for your past accomplishments? What does it care for your old achievements? The world honors only what is present. The world admires the now, the fire that burns in your belly today, the actions you take today, the strength you wield today. The lion does not live off the scraps of yesterday's hunt. It hunts again and again, for it knows that its strength must be proven again and again with every sunrise. To live in the past is to make yourself irrelevant in the present. To hold on to what once was is to forfeit the opportunity to become something more. The world respects those who move forward, who are not content to rest on their laurels, but instead challenge themselves again and again. Do not be like the man who speaks only of what he did once, who fills the air with tales of the past, for he has already begun to die. To be truly alive is to be engaged in the struggle of the now, to carve your place in the world with the fire of today, not the embers of yesterday. The past has no hold on the man who is always becoming, always striving, always evolving. Live in the now. Make the present moment your masterpiece. Let the world see you as a force in motion, not as a relic of what once was. The past is only a shadow. You are the light. Trying to make everyone happy. The desperate chase for universal approval is the quickest path to self-erasure. The more you bend, the more you twist, the more you contort yourself to fit the desires of others, the less you become yourself. And in this sacrifice, in this pursuit of fleeting approval, you lose what is most valuable, your own essence. The more you seek to please, the less respect you command. The more you give, the less you receive in return. Why? Because to please everyone is to please no one. People do not respect the one who exists only for their comfort, for their desires, for their whims. They may tolerate such a person, they may even thank them, but they will never truly value them. Respect is not born from servitude, from constantly lowering yourself in the face of others' demands. It is born from strength, from self-assurance, from knowing your worth and standing by it. Those who live to please, who live to make everyone happy, are invisible. They fade into the background of life, blending into the scenery, never truly standing for anything. They may avoid conflict, but in doing so, they forfeit their identity. They become ghosts, shadows that only exist in relation to the desires of others. And in the end, they are forgotten, not for what they have given, but for what they have sacrificed, themselves. The world respects the one who stands firm in their convictions, who is unafraid to disappoint, to challenge, to push boundaries. The world does not honor those who seek to placate, to soothe, to offer themselves as sacrifices on the altar of others' expectations. True power, true respect, is earned by being unapologetically yourself. It is earned by setting boundaries, by saying no when necessary, by refusing to be anything less than what you are. When you stop trying to please everyone, when you stop sacrificing your essence in the name of approval, you begin to command attention. You become a force, an entity to be reckoned with. People will begin to value you, not because you give them what they want, but because you offer something far rarer, authenticity. Stop living for the approval of others. Stop bending and breaking to make them happy. Be your own measure of worth, and let the world respect you for who you are, not for who you pretend to be. The more you give in to the demands of others, the less you will be seen. The more you hold true to yourself, the more you will be revered. To mistake passion for madness. There is a thin, fragile line between passion and madness. One burns with purpose, with vision, with a flame that can illuminate the world. The other consumes, devours, without reason, without aim, until only ash remains. But the world does not always understand this distinction. In a society that fears the fire, it is easy to mistake the glow of passion for the chaos of madness. And yet, it is the fire that burns with intensity, with purpose, that ignites everything in its path. When you are consumed by passion, when you are driven by something that pulses at the very core of your being, those around you will not always understand. They will call you reckless, they will call you unstable, they will call you mad. But they do not know the truth. They do not know that it is this very fire, this fervent intensity, that has the power to change the world. Those who are driven by purpose do not care for the labels of others. They burn, and in their burning, they ignite something in the hearts of others, something that will never be extinguished. To be passionate is to live with abandon, to pour your heart and soul into something greater than yourself. It is a force that cannot be tamed, a force that shakes the world to its foundations. But to be called mad is to be seen as a threat to the comfort of others. They want you to conform, to fit into the molds they have set for you, to live in the predictable, the safe, the tame. But those who change the world, those who reshape reality, are not the ones who follow the rules. They are the ones who burn with a fire too bright to ignore. Madness is the illusion created by those who are afraid of passion. Passion is not chaos, it is creation. It is the forging of new paths, the shattering of old ideas, the daring to live in a way that challenges the very fabric of existence. And in this challenge, others may see madness, but those who dare to live with such intensity, with such conviction, are the ones who will be remembered. It is not madness that fuels the revolution, the art, the breakthroughs. It is passion. The passion to create, to build, to tear down, to rebuild. The passion to exist beyond the confines of what is comfortable, what is expected. The passion to burn brightly and in doing so, light the way for others to follow. Do not be afraid to burn. Do not be afraid to live with the fire that burns in your soul. For only those who are willing to embrace their passion, no matter how it is perceived by the world, can truly change the course of history. Only those who are willing to ignite the flame within themselves can light the way for others to follow. And it is in that blaze, that brilliance, that the world will finally begin to see. True madness is not in the fire, but in the fear of the flame. Neglecting your appearance. There is a misconception, a dangerous myth, that one's inner worth should be enough to command respect. That true value is something beyond the skin, beyond the superficial. But this is an illusion, a comforting lie that feeds the ego and allows one to slip into neglect. The truth is far harsher. The way you present yourself is not just a reflection of who you are. It is the first thing that the world sees, and it is this first impression that often determines whether you'll be valued or dismissed. We live in a world driven by perception. Whether we like it or not, the image we project shapes how others perceive our worth. To neglect your appearance is to disregard the most primal law of human interaction. It is to blindfold yourself and walk into a battle unarmed. You cannot demand respect from others if you refuse to give them a reason to respect you. A person who disregards their own image is sending a message of indifference to the world, a message that says they have nothing worth presenting, nothing worth being seen. The truth is this: respect begins with the image. It begins with how you carry yourself, how you present your body to the world. And the world will only meet you as far as you meet yourself. If you walk through life with the belief that your inner essence will speak for itself, you fail to acknowledge the most essential truth of human nature. People judge, they measure, they calculate within seconds. And if your outward appearance does not align with the power and purpose you claim to hold, they will not believe you. This is not about vanity. This is not about external perfection. It is about presenting the best version of yourself to the world, about showing that you respect who you are, that you value your existence. A man who presents himself with intention, who dresses with purpose, who speaks with conviction, commands the attention of those around him. They will respect him, not for what he claims to be, but for the consistent force he projects. But those who neglect their appearance, who walk through life with disregard for how they present themselves, are quickly dismissed. They become invisible, unremarkable, overlooked. Their words, no matter how profound, fail to reach the ears of those who refuse to see them. They are ghosts in a world that values the living, the present, the seen. Understand this. You cannot demand respect if you do not show it to yourself first. Your image is the first chapter of the story you wish to tell. It is the introduction to the book that is your life. If you are to be respected, you must first respect the vessel through which you navigate the world. And the way you present that vessel speaks volumes before you even utter a word. Respect begins with your image. It is not an afterthought. It is the foundation of the respect you will receive. Interacting with those who do not respect you. You are the sum of those you allow into your life. The people you surround yourself with shape your thoughts, your ambitions, your energy. If you choose to spend time with those who do not respect you, you are inviting stagnation, decay, and disillusionment into your life. And in doing so, you have already begun to sacrifice your future to the whims of the present moment. Respect is not a gift. It is an exchange, a balance of recognition between individuals. To engage with those who dismiss you, who belittle your value, is to allow your own worth to be diminished by their indifference. Their disregard is not a neutral force. It is an active force, one that chips away at your self-esteem, at your sense of purpose, and at your potential. When you stand in the presence of those who fail to see your power, you weaken yourself by absorbing their rejection. But the danger lies not in the immediate impact of such interactions. It lies in the subtle erosion of your spirit over time. Just as a river shapes the landscape slowly and imperceptibly, so too does the lack of respect from others slowly erode your confidence, your ambition, and your self-belief. To engage with people who do not value you is to lay the groundwork for a future of compromise and regret. The people you choose to engage with are not mere accessories in your life. They are the architects of your future. They are the ones who will either elevate you or bring you down. In the presence of those who respect you, your ideas grow, your passions are fueled, and your ambitions are set ablaze. But in the presence of those who mock or dismiss you, your fire is quenched. Your energy is drained, and you are left only with the remnants of what could have been. It is not about creating distance from those who challenge you, those who criticize you. It is about distancing yourself from those who refuse to acknowledge your value. There is a difference between someone who challenges you to rise and someone who simply does not care to see you at all. It is the latter who drags you down, whose presence weighs on your soul and makes you doubt the very essence of who you are. If you wish to shape a future of strength, of power, and of accomplishment, you must choose your companions wisely. Surround yourself with those who see you, not as you are, but as you could become. Surround yourself with those who challenge you to reach higher, to stretch further, to demand more from yourself. The future you create will be a reflection of the company you keep today. Choose wisely, for your future depends on it. Expecting respect to be given to you. Respect is not a gift, it is a conquest. It is not something that is handed to you at birth, nor is it something that you inherit by mere existence. Respect is something that you must fight for, build for, prove, and earn every single day. Those who believe that respect is a right granted to them are the ones who never understand its true value. They believe that because they exist, the world should bend to their will, but the world does not care for the entitled. The world respects power. Respect is the currency of those who move mountains. When you sit and wait for others to respect you because of your status, your name, or your supposed lineage, you are only a shadow in the eyes of the world. You are the one who asks for validation without ever showing the strength, the wisdom, or the courage to deserve it. Respect is not granted on a whim. It is earned through actions, through discipline, and through the relentless pursuit of excellence. It is a reflection of who you have become, not who you were born to be. And the moment you expect it simply because of your existence, you render it meaningless. Those who demand respect without proving their worth live in a bubble of delusion. They believe that the world owes them something, that others should automatically recognize their value. But this is a lie. True respect is reserved for those who have proven themselves in the forge of struggle. It is not given to those who sit idle, who wait for the world to come to them, for the world moves forward without concern for those who stand still. Real respect is earned through sweat, through sacrifice, through a commitment to rise above mediocrity. It is not given to those who have not demonstrated their worth. It is not about titles, not about possessions, not about family name. It is about what you have built with your hands, with your mind, with your will. Respect is an extension of your character, your strength, your ability to lead, to challenge, to confront adversity. It is not a right, it is a reward for those who choose to live with purpose, to refuse to accept anything less than their absolute best. If you walk through life with the belief that respect is something owed to you, you will find yourself standing alone, waiting for validation that never arrives. But if you embrace the truth, that respect is something you must earn every day, then you will find that it follows you wherever you go. It will become the natural byproduct of your strength, your actions, your commitment to greatness. And in that respect, you will find power. The moment you expect respect from others without earning it is the moment you surrender your future. You become irrelevant, forgotten, a faint echo in a world that demands substance over appearance. So if you want respect, if you demand to be seen and heard, show the world who you are through your actions. Earn it, and it will come. Not being yourself. To live a life that is not your own is to betray the essence of your existence. If you play a role, if you wear the mask of someone you are not, then who is it exactly that deserves respect? What is there to honor in the hollow shell that you present to the world? When you abandon your true self, when you hide behind the facade of what you think others want to see, you not only deceive them, you deceive yourself. And in this deceit, there is no room for respect. Respect is not given to a performance, it is given to authenticity. It is earned through the raw, unfiltered expression of your true self. To be anything less than yourself is to forfeit the respect that is only offered to those who stand unapologetically in their own skin. People sense the falseness in those who wear a mask. They may admire the appearance, but they will never truly respect what they know to be a lie. And respect is not born from admiration, it is born from recognition, from seeing the depth and power of a person's soul, not the projection of someone else's ideals. When you play a role, you disconnect yourself from your own power. You become a puppet, controlled by the whims and expectations of those around you. You are no longer the master of your own existence. You are a servant to the perceptions of others. But the world does not respect the puppet. It respects the creator, the one who dares to be fully, unapologetically themselves. To wear a mask is to sacrifice your uniqueness, to abandon your true potential in favor of someone else's approval. It is a betrayal of your own greatness. The person who hides behind a mask is like a shadow, a fleeting, insubstantial figure that is defined only by its surroundings, without substance or depth. But the one who dares to stand as they are, raw, real, imperfect, commands respect. For to be yourself is the ultimate form of rebellion in a world that demands conformity. And it is this rebellion that draws the eyes, that forces the world to stop and take notice. Respect is not earned by pretending, by shaping yourself into what others want you to be. It is earned by showing up as yourself, as the person you were meant to be. In a world that is full of facades, to be genuine is to become a force of nature. The respect that follows is not the hollow praise of those who admire the mask, but the true recognition of those who see the soul behind it. If you wish to be respected, stop pretending. Stop playing the role that you think will bring you acceptance, and start living in the full expression of who you are. For only then will the world see the true strength of your being, and only then will respect come, not as a favor, but as a consequence of your unapologetic existence. As we've explored, respect is not a given. It is something earned, something fought for. It is found in your actions, your authenticity, and the way you stand firm in your own truth. Never settle for being anything less than yourself. Forge your path with integrity, and the respect you seek will follow naturally. May you have the strength to be true to who you are and the courage to command the respect you deserve. Keep pushing forward.